Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Matt's Morning Show. Today on the morning show, we have fog. Don't try to adjust your set because what you're seeing is what I'm seeing. It's a slow go out the river this morning, and once I get out to the lake, I'm going to stay to the side. I'm going to stay out of the middle until this clears out and blows, either burns off or blows off. Fog's a tricky one. It's flat calm in the river right here. I don't know what it's like out on the lake. Hopefully there's a little bit of breeze. But fog is tricky because people want to run around it wide open and you've got no visual. This is my little public service warning. I've been on this lake many a day when it's foggy out and you're listening for your life, honestly. So you got to be very careful. You got to be mindful. We'll see how thick this is when I get out there. Stay tuned. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Matt's Morning Show. Live. Well, I'm live now, recording this. I'm on Oneida Lake this morning. It is a beautiful Sunday morning. My goodness, is it a beautiful day. Water temps out here 53.4. We got a light east wind this morning. Clear skies. Every school of fish I found, and I'm now starting to look at my fourth and last spot. It's crazy. I've had a good picture every place I've been this morning, and I've caught two giant perch, like 11, 12 inches, and one little itty bitty perch, exactly 4 inches because I measured them. I'm seeing bait. I'm seeing life. I am not getting bit. So hope springs eternal in the angler. So we're gonna talk for a few minutes. Catch up on our day, and I assume catch a couple fish while we're here talking. There's a pile of boats just to the south of me, perch fishing right here. If there's that many perch around, there's going to be predators out around the outer edge of the school. So we're going to sit here and jig. And I've been throwing swim baits this morning. I did have something large on a swim bait this morning earlier. At the last spot, it shook its head and came off. And I did catch a pickerel earlier on a swim bait as well. First thing this morning, first spot, I was fishing in over the top of these weeds at about 14 foot of water. But I've been mostly in and around the big flat from 18 to, I'm in 21 right now, 22. About as deep as it gets right here. How about those Yankees? The Yankees win! Going to the World Series, first time in 15 years. 2009 was the last time they went. And for the Yankees, that's a long time, you know. They've won more than anyone's ever even been. This is their 41st pennant ever. It's amazing stuff. And boy, they played great. Giancarlo Stanton, just him. A lot of guys came through. Yeah, the home runs get all the headlines. Juan Soto has ice water in his veins. Like, he took that pitch for a ride. I thought Cleveland put up a hell of a fight, considering it was 4-1. Every game was close and contested, and one break either way. You know, started out the game first inning with a bang play at the plate that was the right call. Torres was out, but it was by like that much. Man, that was exciting. And all night, and I actually stayed awake, and I stayed up and watched the whole game. I was flipping back and forth between that game, the Yankees game, and the Georgia-Texas game in Texas, homecoming game. Like, big, huge crowd, and Matthew McConaughey's on the field, and all the celebrities, and yada, yada, yada. And Texas got yawked in their own house in front of all those Texas fans. Georgia came to play, and they beat the snot out of them. That Georgia defense didn't give Ewers, or when Manning came in, didn't give them time to breathe. And there was a chance late in the game where I thought maybe Texas could rally, and Georgia's defense shut them down again. Even after, I'm going to tell you, and I have not seen any headlines yet this morning. I've been out fishing since before it was daylight. I haven't listened to anything, but those officials changing that defensive pass interference call against that Texas defender that resulted in the interception. Now, I don't necessarily think that it should have been pass interference to begin with, but what was going on there? The student section started to riot, and they were throwing stuff on the field, and the refs got together and changed their call. No, and it was not a reviewable play. So they got together, not video reviewable, they got together amongst themselves and said, hey, whatever, and we're changing it. And I'll tell you, the Kirby Smart, the Georgia head coach, lost his mind on the sidelines. Lost his mind. Like, and all he kept saying, you could read his lips, all he kept saying to the one ref or umpire, whatever, the red and white stripe, is, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. That's all he kept saying, you can't do that. And and they did. And they got the ball back, and I don't remember, I mean, even if they scored, it didn't matter because Georgia came right back and scored again. And they won it, 30-something to 15 or whatever. But that was impressive. That was impressive. Georgia came into Texas. And then Alabama got beat yesterday. Like, college football's, all college sports are crazy right now. There is so much fluidity amongst these athletes moving around from school to school. And then you see the Virginia men's head coach, men's basketball head coach just left the program, and something obviously happened. Nick Saban up and left last year, and said publicly college sports isn't in a good place right now, and they don't want to be a part of it anymore. And listen, both those guys at those high level of programs, I'm sure, have seen and maybe even done a lot. You don't get to be Alabama. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Listen, maybe you get to be the best just because everybody buys in and they all want to be the best too. Who knows? Like a Duke basketball all those years. So Krzyzewski is completely squeaky clean. Every top prospect in the whole country automatically wanted to come to Duke every year, no matter what. All right, maybe. But those kind of programs suddenly don't really exist because, look at Syracuse football, for example. We would have never been in the recruiting for a kid like Kyle McCord without NIL, which is name, image, likeness, money, okay, and the transfer portal. And the two go hand in hand because it's a matter of who offers who the most amount of money and if they want to do it. And then they enter the portal after they've been made an offer, and it's seemingly easier and simpler for the athlete to maneuver through than free agency is in the pros. And so now you have, again, we'll take Kyle McCord and Meeks also, the kid from the receiver we got in the portal from Georgia. He followed Coach Brown up. That kid never even thinks of coming to Syracuse because we're not on the same level in college football as Georgia is, or Alabama or some of these top schools. But then all of a sudden you have Vanderbilt go out and miraculously beat Alabama, and suddenly the Alabama quarterback has a terrible game. Now, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that, especially with the real, not invent, but I guess the coming out of the closet of the sports gaming industry, who knows what's possible, and now you can already funnel these kids money through name, image, and likeness. I hope we don't start getting into gambling schemes and point shaving and stuff like that, because it's all well within the realm of possibility. I mean, the NCAA held out hope, and the NCAA is a lot of things, and it's not benevolent, and it's not always been on the up and up, and it has made billions, if not trillions, off the backs of athletes that were given free room and board and the ability to take some classes while making millions and millions for their own school, let alone the funnel upwards that went to the NCAA. And these kids didn't get any of it. I don't begrudge these kids to get money, considering how much money there is in what they're doing. And they're the star product. So I don't have a problem with that. But the NCAA fought valiantly to keep money out of the game. Yes, because they wanted to keep the money. Let's be perfectly clear. But secondarily, because once you open Pandora's box, boy, it's hard to put the genie back in the bottle. So who knows? Very interesting. Again, this is Matt's morning show, and so I'm just talking about, like, if we were talking, this is where you would rebut. Now, you can only do that through the comments, but certainly do. Like, this doesn't have to be just a one-sided conversation. But these kind of things interest me, and so I talk about them. So last night was a great sports night. I wasn't vested or anything, and I don't bet on sports. The most I've ever done in my life is I used to be in a one of my drivers at work in the old days used to run some sort of a knockout pool for the NFL, and then of course I always got into somebody I knew would do brackets for March Madness. That's the extent of my sports gambling. But I'll tell you, nowadays, sports gambling is no joke, and it's at every layer of society, and it's at every level of sports fan. People that don't have any clue about sports, or people that love sports and think, oh, I know so much, I can wager on it and come out ahead or whatever. Maybe you can. I don't know anything about it. But I know these sports betting sites must be making a fortune because they advertise nonstop during the games, different ones, and they're paying premiums for those advertising spots. So everybody loves sports, and I guess maybe it increases the thrill when your team wins if you bet money and win. But it was a lot of fun to watch last night. The spectacle of October baseball That makes me miss that Joe Torre era, and so many times we had both teams really had runners in scoring position, and you didn't get that feeling that whoever was coming up was going to do whatever they could do to get a hit. A lot of them, in a lot of the Yankees, they were looking for that one pitch to take out of the park. I used to love watching the old Yankees on that run with Joe Torre, because I used to always think it was the coolest thing when the team hit for the cycle. So that was a minimum, you hit for the cycle, and which means that you bat all the way through the order. I mean, that's a minimum 6 runs. And how many times in those years would the Yankees do that regular season, but certainly in the postseason? In most of those years, they were winning series. They were sweeping every series. At the most, they'd go 5 games. They were just unstoppable for those 4 or 5 years straight. But they didn't just play the long ball. They played small ball, and it was fun to watch. And they'd do whatever they could. They'd get on base, and Torre was a National League manager, so in some ways he managed them like a National League team. But I'd like to see this Yankee team manufacture more runs as opposed to driving them over the fence. Is the only run production for this team. Maybe I'm splitting hairs. Who knows? Well, my theory of drifting outside of the pack of perch anglers has come up with a big 0. So I'm going to chuck a swim bait for a few minutes. We're going to finish our conversation, and I'm going to go do something. Love this time of year. Love seeing so many people out here on the weekends fishing. So many people wave to me when I drive by, and I love it. This end of the lake is big enough to be its own lake, and there'll be a lot of times here where you don't have to go, for me, like you don't have to leave the West End. I've had plenty of fish today too. I got fish all over the screen. I was going to show you that one. I got fish all over the screen. Whatever I'm doing, they're not liking. If they're liking anybody else, I don't know. So, we'll talk a little bit more about the morning show. I am open. I'd like to have some guests, maybe even guests that are non-fishing related, come out and join me for a morning of fishing. If you know of anybody that's interested in doing something like that, or have them private message me on social media, either on Facebook or Instagram. You can make comments here in the YouTube channel post. Uh-oh, there's one. No. Oh, I had one ticket right there. I thought for sure that rod was going to load up. Yeah, and I have no idea. What's the schedule is for today for NFL today, or what big games are on. I have no idea. I have not paid any attention this week leading up to it. I think the Dolphins are on a bye anyway this week. Maybe that's why. I know this is Bills country. They just got a new receiver, and the Jets just reunited Devontae Adams with with Aaron Rodgers, that ought to be interesting. I've got quite a few friends of mine that are diehard Jets fans. Poor bastards. I can say that because I'm a Dolphins fan. My Dolphins went to the Super Bowl when I was 12 years old. That's it. So shut your mouth. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Well, this has been a spine-tingling episode of Matt's Morning Show. The fishing action has been nonstop. You ever see that meme where the guy's looking in the mirror and he says, "You don't suck at fishing, the fish suck at biting your lure"? Maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe I just dropped a little wisdom. I don't know. Maybe every fish in this lake's stupid and their mother was a carp. Probably the same carp. So, how about that? How do you like me now? You mess with the bull, you get the horn. All right, we're getting dangerously close to last cast here. I'm going to switch up rods and swim baits for the next cast unless I get bit here. Which, it wouldn't kill these walleyes to, bite for me. I let them go. Not like I'm killing them. You hear that? I had somebody leave a comment the other day that they'd been having a rough week, and that something I said or did Friday made their day. Well, guess what? You made my day, so we're even. I love hearing that. And listen, I like to try to be positive. I struggle with it myself in my own life, in my own head. I do. I struggle with that positive attitude that I would much rather think everything's going to work out, even if I'm being naive and it's not really going to, than walk around with the attitude of, oh, well, the worst is about to happen at any moment. I can't live like that. It takes too much out of me. So I try to be happy and positive and upbeat. And again, it doesn't always work. But certainly when I'm talking to you guys, I try to. And hearing that the other day made me feel great. Thank you. Made me feel great. I love interacting with you guys every day. The amount of people and positive nature that's come back to me since I've been doing this now for the last 5 years is, it's I haven't achieved fame and fortune and everything that goes with it, but I'm sure rich in a lot of ways. I've met an incredible amount of people personally and professionally. There's no signs of stopping, but some days I just stop and think to myself, or even I just look around in my boat, my beautiful new Starcraft boat that I love, and all of my stuff, and you think, God, there was a time where this was my aspiration to get all of these things, and now I've got them. And so those moments of gratitude and that time where we can reflect honestly and go, man, I've worked hard. I've had some great accomplishments. I have a ton more I want to do, but I can't constantly be in a state of looking forward to the next thing, because then I don't appreciate and I don't show gratitude for what I've already done and achieved. And I believe without the gratitude part, things get stuck along the way and they don't come to you like they should. Because we have got to stop and say thank you to yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Matt, for working hard. Thank you, Matt, for getting up and going out every morning. You know, I say thank you to myself. Because I enjoy doing it. And it is easy to do something, and it's not just the fishing part, it's this part. I enjoy this tremendously. I enjoy when people say, I felt like I was out there with you. I felt like we were talking. Because we are. There's no, and the we is me, and the whoever you is you. Because there's more to it than randomness. So, you know, it might be cliched, but if you're seeing it, it's meant for you, you know. Oh, I wish something like this would have happened to me, whatever this would be. Well, if it was supposed to, it would have. If it didn't, it wasn't. Keep going, you know. I don't care how many of these stupid fish have put their fin up at me today. Every cast is a new hope. It springs eternal in the angler, you know. I immediately let the last cast go and I move right on to the next one. There are boats everywhere out here. My head's on a swivel because when I'm talking, I'm not really paying attention, and that's a bad thing, but especially when I can hear motors coming fairly close. I like to put eyes on things. I definitely like to put eyes on things, and there's a pile of boats out here. I love it. There should be. It's beautiful out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful out. The weather, the water, the temperature. The fishing's not beautiful for me, but the fishing part is. The catching part. Well, I think fish are stupid, so there we go. We're even. But I identify as someone that caught a limit today. Of big ones too. So there you go. These next couple weeks are going to be interesting. The election is looming on the horizon, like 2.5 weeks away. It's like D-Day approaching, except it's E-Day. You're like, good God. And Courtney was saying last night, she goes, I can't wait for all the political ads to be over. And I thought, well, once the election's over, it's still not going to be over, and everybody's going to be half the country's going to be complaining about something. Just depends on which half, you know, which side you're on as to which half is going to be happy and which isn't. Which sucks because that means only half the country feels like they're being looked after and cared about and spoken on their behalf, and that's the bigger problem than anything. In my humble opinion, is that. I've always thought to myself, if I could go back, I've said this before, if I could go back to any time in our history, I'd go back to 1976. Because that's modern times, and you know, I'd go back to 1976, and I'd want to be able to be an adult and see and feel the bicentennial summer, that 4th of July build up, and the hoopla and the love and the outpouring and everybody saying that we love America instead of we hate America. because there's no place else in this world that's better, I can tell you that much. And there's no place else in this world that you could even say that you hated where you live. We have freedoms and rights here, but we also have responsibilities to each other. I see these old clips of Ronald Reagan's speeches. And I'll tell you, the one thing about Reagan was, I shouldn't say this. I'm sure he was getting his pockets there. Oh. Why did you leave me here all alone? I searched the lake over and thought I found true love. Oh, let's do that again, shall we? The nibble interrupted my train of thought. But to go back to that time where it felt like the United States, where it felt like we had some commonality of goal to be prosperous and strong and independent and free. Those kind of words, I think sometimes people think of them as punchlines nowadays, but we have issues afoot, and I believe nefarious individuals that are out to harm us as a whole for profit. Exorbitant profit. Profiting from taxpayer dollars. I digress. Now, the better the fishing, the less talk of everything else. So we're going to do this as last cast. We can't go on any longer. We're at 31 minutes. That's long enough. For the love of God, man, that's long enough. But I'm going to make this last cast count. I've seen that brand new bright red Lund go by me twice this morning. Well, looks like the last cast mojo is no mo. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up for today. I will see all of you tomorrow. I got a special guest tomorrow. My first one, he's the only special. I shouldn't say that. He's special to me. We fish every Monday morning together, and I think we're back together tomorrow morning. My buddy Paul, so stay tuned. We may possibly even be going perch fishing tomorrow. I don't know that for sure yet. So, all right, everybody, have a great one. Keep your tip up. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being on Matt's Morning Show.